In the November of 2006, first guy had been transferred to England under this agreement between Britain and India. So I made an application to get a transfer. At that time I didn't know whether I was going to be accepted or not, but it was a chance that I wanted to take, and I took it. I waited and I waited, and in the December, just jumping forward a bit, Sir Michael Arthur, the British High Consular of India, paid me a visit. Very nice guy. That's all I can say. He said to me, "Steve, this first transfer has taken about 9 months for this man, and you should be able to be back in England, providing this transfer is accepted, by June of next year, 2007. And he said, "I see no reason why this can't happen." So that gave me a big lift, you know. Even though I was enjoying my time so much in Tihar, I wanted to get back, you know. I felt I'd done enough time, and I wanted to see me daughter and my son and, you know, friends that I remembered from England. So at that point, it was left at that. It was a waiting game. One day, I was talking with Toto, and this Punjabi man had come to Barasel. He was on a big case, big drug case. Very nice, pleasant man. He understood a little bit of Hindi, no English at all. Yet the three of us was there. We were just, you know, passing time. And he said to Toto, you know, "Who's this man?" And he was talking about me. And Toto said, "Oh, he's the strange one." And after some time I've been able to get this across to this guy. He turned around and he looked at me and he just went, "Anjan." And I looked at Toto and I says, "What's Anjan?" He said, this man has just given you your name." I said, "Anjan?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what is it?" And he said it's a very, very old pre-Persian name of explanation, means like not known or mysterious or something like that. And from that point until I left Tihar, that's what I was called. People called me Anjan. When I left jail, I thought, I'm going to keep this name. And I was telling people, you know, about this name, and nobody would call me it. They just couldn't say this name. So eventually, when I got an email account, I put my email account as Anjan Ora, ANJANORAA, and I have that same account today. That's just a little story. Every week I was getting 12 bananas along with this 50 grams of butter. And for weeks, probably months after, I used to live on banana sandwiches. Simple as that. Put butter on my bread, spread a banana in it, and that's what I lived on. That and tea. And I was more than happy, more than happy. Some people thought it was very strange that I was putting bananas into bread and butter. But for me, even as a kid growing up back in the 50s, I can remember having banana sandwiches. So again, that was a treat. It was a real treat, you know. You can't have rice 16 times a week and dal and sabji twice a day, every day, and not get tired of it. You know, I mean, I'd lost the appetite for this within months of being in jail. So just having this change of diet, if you like, because my diet then was consisted mainly of just bread and the occasional bowl of dal. And it was nice, you know, that's all I can say. It was nice. Also at this time, back end of November, I started making pendulums. I found a couple of stones on the floor this day and looked at them and I thought, I could make a pendulum from this. So I'd get these stones and I'd rub them down on the concrete. Some of them were so hard I couldn't, so I threw them out, but others were like soft stone. So I would make different shapes of pendulum. I had dental floss. All I wanted was to be able to get a hole through the stone. And Mick, in the cell next door, he had some 1-inch nails, just like that. So I would get a nail and I would sit for hours just turning it into the stone. And eventually I would make a hole and I'd get this dental floss, tie it up, and the incense stick, I'd break a little bit of stick off, tie it on the end like a little handle, and there was my pendulum. Eventually I made, I don't know, over a dozen pendulums over the time that I was there. And different pendulums I used for different applications for what I was looking to achieve. All I can say is, it worked. I just saw myself as like an extension of this pendulum, and all questions and answers, you know, questions would come and the answers was already in me, and that's the only way I can describe the pendulum. But it was very, very powerful. Today, not this day, but up to now, I still use the pendulum, mainly for other people and to try and get guidance, and it's a part of my life. I found out in December that the advocate that Landwood got me, Yogesh, I'd been trying to extort money from my family, lots of money. And I contacted the British High Commission and told them, look, get onto my family, tell them they send no money at all, under any circumstances, no money. I mean, by now, I was a convict, I was guilty. And strangely enough, within a few days, this advocate turned up at Tihar jail to see me. And he was demanding 25,000 rupees off me. And I lost it. I lost it with this guy. I said, you dare to extort money from my family on false pretenses? I says, you've done nothing for me. I am now a convict and you still want money off me? I said, you come to this jail to see me again and I'll bite your fucking face off. And he looked at me in horror. I says, don't ever, ever come to see me again. And the meeting was all over within 5 minutes. And that was it. I never saw this bastard again. But, you know, everything is corrupt. Everything is corrupt there. I was walking across the Chaka this day with a guy. We was just going to get some coupons, and like I've said before, in CJ3, to get to the actual Chaka, there's a big open spanse that they use for netball and various activities. And as we was walking across, I just sort of glanced up, and this feather, a white feather, about that big, was floating down. And as I walked, I put my hand out and it just landed in my hand. And I knew straight away what it was about. But a year previous, I'd read a book from a Scottish lady on light workers. And she was talking about spirit guides and angels and all this. And she said, if a white feather ever comes to you, she said, that's a sign from your angels, your spirit guides, and it's just to say that they're watching over you. And wow, it landed in my hand as I was walking, and this guy looked at me and went, where did I come from? And we looked up, and of course, big expansive sky. There was nothing there, nothing. And it was a big white, pure white feather. I kept that feather for years. And then one day, it gone. Don't know where it went. It's just disappeared. It's just another one of those unexplainable events that were happening to me after or during the end of 2005. Also, I'd read a book by a Russian author. I can't remember his name. But in this book, he was saying that he used to travel around Russia collecting stories, from different villages. And he was in this village this night, and he was in this bar, whatever. And he met this man, and they were just talking. And then somebody said, fire, fire. And this guy just jumped up, ran outside to where this fire was, took something out of his pocket and threw it in the fire. When he come back, this man said, what's the story? What's this all about? And he said, I'd been having lots of bad luck in my life, and I went to see a witch. Now this is in Russia, right? And this is in the 19th century. And she told me that I had to save all my nail clippings from my fingers, from my toes, just save them, put them into a bag. And the next time I saw a fire that I didn't start, it was like another fire somewhere, a stranger's fire. I had to throw these nail cuttings into the fire, and my wish would be granted. And that was that. So I started collecting my nails, right? Didn't know what for, but I started to collect them. And after some time, and this would have, now I have to go forward a bit, because this would have been sometime in 2007, early 2007. I was with Toto this day, and we went up to the kitchen in the hospital, and they were out of gas for cooking, and they had a fire round the back. And I had these nail partings, and I took them out, and I chucked them in the fire. And I said in my head, I'd like a guitar. I was missing a guitar. I says, I'd like a guitar. A week later, Toto came to my cell with a guitar, an acoustic guitar. And he'd found it in the storeroom of where the electricians had a room, and they were cleaning it out. And this guitar had been sat in there for about 7 years. And I got a guitar. Toto, bless him, he'd been in jail too many years, and he had lots of contacts, and he got me 2 sets of strings from the outside, got them smuggled in. So I restrung this guitar left-handed, and I was away again. Another one of those situations where I can't explain it. All I know is it happened and it worked. It worked. Before I go, I have a message for Lenny. I can't imagine the kind of suffering you've gone through and what you're still going through. It makes the suffering that I experienced in Tihar a walk in the park. All I will say to you, keep the faith, believe in the universe, believe in the source, and your life will change. You have a strong heart, you're a good man. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Everything is passing. Everything is passing. And your life will get better, okay? Please, don't forget, give me the thumbs up and all the rest of all that stuff, right? And I'll speak to you next time.